The Caitlin Clark-Paige Beckers showdown was supposed to be the marquee event for the WNBA, and with 2.1 million people tuning in, it was an opportunity for the league to show off the best it has to offer. But that's not what happened. While Caitlin and Paige put on a good show, the real story wasn't the buckets, it was the whistles. The refs were missing calls left and right, but this time the media didn't let them off the hook. They were savagely called out on live TV, and now the mainstream media is torching the WNBA and the commissioner on a national scale. I'm going to show you all of it in this video. It's brutal. And now, Cathy Engelbert, who's dismissed the reffing issues, is in the hot seat. Change could finally be coming, whether she likes it or not. I've got all the receipts coming up, but first, like this video. Every like equals a new whistle for the refs because apparently theirs are broken. And subscribe for more Caitlin Clark and WNBA updates.
Can you tell me what kind of a move that Ryan Howard's doing here to Caitlin Clark? What is that move?
So the refs have been absolutely ripped to shreds this whole season. And look, it's normal to rip on the refs. It's ingrained in every sports fan's DNA. But what's been happening in the WNBA this season is off the charts bad. I mean, even in hockey, they don't allow this much clutching and grabbing, especially on their superstars, and especially on the face of the league, in this case, Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's one thing to have the league on your shoulders, it's another to have every player in the league draped all over you when you're trying to score, with no whistles. And it's been called out over and over and over again, but the league won't listen. But during the Fever Wings game, it got so bad, the media spoke up.
There's a grab, there's a hold, there's another grab. I mean, all of those the ball.
There's a grab, there's a hold, there's a grab, there's a hold.
This is all everyone could talk about. Rebecca Lobo ripping the refs in 4K on national television. Like grading the math test of the kid who didn't study. Wrong, 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 F-, I need to meet with your parents. And you can tell by her tone, she's in disbelief about how bad it's gotten. And fans and analysts jumped all over this because it's happening every Fever game.
If you slow down the plays, if you watch the plays, you can see it happen in real time. Like, she is getting bumped, she is getting grabbed, she is getting hand checked throughout the entire game, and it continues to happen.
You can play physical, but play clean ball. We don't even get that in the W. We get dirty ball, foul, every single possession. Every single possession. If Caitlin Clark has the ball in her hands, she is getting hacked every single possession. And the referees need to start calling it.
Even if you're not a Fever fan or a Caitlin Clark fan, this is very much a league-wide issue.
You know, it's very physical. I'm saying something to the ref, watch my landing space, watch physicality. I get laughed at.
And I got scratches on my face, got scratches on my body, and these guards on the other team get these ticky-tack fouls, and I'm sick of it.
I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs to get better.
It's gotten so bad that, according to Rebecca, coaches are basically telling their players to play as physical as possible because they're not going to get called on it. In other words, this is a systemic problem. And then it got worse, because Rebecca and her broadcast partner, Ryan Rucco, dropped this about Paige Bueckers.
He said that Paige Beckers has come out and says she needs to relearn how to play defense while fouling more, because you can get away with everything with these referees. So basically, she had to relearn how to play defense while fouling. So, you know, everything you learn about defense, how to play while not fouling, how to move your feet, how to do all this, she had to throw out all the good defensive fundamentals that she'd learned, and now she had to learn to go foul.
If this doesn't tell you there's a problem in the W, I don't know what will. Paige had to basically relearn how to defend while fouling, undoing all the good habits she was taught at UConn. It's not like she learned her craft at upstairs Hollywood Medical College. Drop a comment if you understand that reference. Anyway, just when you think things were bad, they got worse. In her recent game against the Sun, Caitlin Clark and the Fever were roughed up with elbows to the head, excessive touching and feeling, you know, the standard Indiana Fever experience. Two big things happened. First, there was this exchange where Caitlin was having what seemed to be a calm conversation with the ref, but then snapped at him, apparently saying, "That has nothing to do with it, are you effing kidding me?" Now, I'm of the mind that he said something dismissive or wrong to draw that kind of response out of what seemed like a calm conversation. Remember what Gabby Williams said earlier about the refs laughing at her? Dismissing players seems to be in the playbook. And the fact that she didn't get a technical for blowing up and telling him to grow up after the fact makes me think he knows he said something he shouldn't have. But then there's this. Caitlin got injured again. And this was the quote that got everyone talking. Caitlin Clark's brother went on X and posted that this was on the refs.
But that was just the appetizer. What happened next made this a national story. The Washington Post just released an article that goes scorched earth on the WNBA refs and Cathy Engelbert. Just listen to how it starts.
The WNBA should change its logo to a bruise. That's the first line of this article. Forget that little silhouette of a woman rising for a shot. Just use Caitlin Clark's arm or leg with a purple discoloration. It's more fitting. Woo-wee. Shots fired.
The article absolutely destroys the officiating. First, there have been 141 injuries since opening day. Keep in mind, there are only 179 active players in the league, and teams have only played about half the season. Second, the article says point blank, this is killing the league. It's not what fans want, and it's Cathy's fault for allowing it. And now, she's in the hot seat, because until now, she hasn't taken this seriously.
I do find it interesting when you sit in the chair I sit in that no winning team ever complains about officiating. No losing team ever doesn't complain about officiating. Cathy Engelbert, you sound like a moron. The Indiana Fever were complaining about the foul play that was going on with Caitlin Clark as they beat the Connecticut Sun. The Indiana Fever was going off about the refs with the whole Kennedy Carter situation as they beat the Chicago Sky. They won those games.
Complaining about refs is normal. In hockey, they boo the refs when they skate onto the ice before the game even starts. But what Cathy is missing is that this goes beyond one player or one team or winners and losers. Officiating in the WNBA is going to kill the league, and it all starts here. The league has the biggest spotlight it's ever had, thanks to Caitlin Clark. The new fans, they're new to the W, but they're not new to basketball. They know what is and is not a foul, and they know when the refs are trash. All they ask is the same thing the players and coaches are asking for, that the games are called fairly and consistently. And they definitely don't want to watch games get stolen from them. I mean, it's already happened on the biggest stage. Remember Game 5 of the 2024 finals? With the championship hanging in the balance, a phantom call was made against the Lynx, which allowed the Liberty to tie the game and eventually win the title in overtime. Coaches are normally the last to criticize the refs, but just listen to what Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve said after the game.
I know all the headlines will be Reeve cries foul. Bring it on, right? Bring it on. Because this shit was stolen from us. Bring it on. This shit ain't that hard. Officiating it's not that hard. When someone is being held, be consistent. If you don't want to hold it one, then don't call it the other. Be consistent. Every team asks for that.
You don't have to read between the lines here. This game and the championship were stolen from us by the refs because they're incompetent and don't call games consistently. We also saw this when the Fever played the Liberty this season. With the game on the line, the refs made not one but 3 questionable calls or non-calls, which allowed the Liberty to take the lead and prevented Caitlin from getting a shot off to tie or win the game. Then you see players like A'ja Wilson, who seem to get away with pretty much everything in some games. As much as Caitlin's fans love Caitlin, they're not going to keep watching her get pummeled. And when Caitlin's injured, as she is again, they're tuning out. They're not going to support a league that allows their favorite player to get injured, which leads me to the biggest problem. Bad refs make the game unsafe. Physicality is a good thing, but you can't let games get out of hand. We all remember what happened with Caitlin against the Sun. The refs didn't control the game early on, leading to Caitlin getting her eyes poked and body checked to the ground with no ejections. And that led to Sophie Cunningham laying an absolute smackdown on JC Sheldon, which got her over 1 million new social media followers. Why? Because fans are sick of Caitlin Clark being roughed up with no consequences, and finally someone delivered some vigilante justice. And her coach backed her up after the game.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. this is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs.
And the rough stuff is the big problem, because when players are allowed to just do what they want and be as physical as they want, injuries are going to happen. Again, this isn't just a bunch of Caitlin Clark complainers. Players around the league are fed up. I've played the clips. But bringing this back to Caitlin, because the league lives and dies with her, think about this. Caitlin Clark has been healthy her entire college and pro career. She missed 0 games due to injury until this season. So, what changed? She put on a bunch of muscle in the offseason. Why did she do that? Because she needed to withstand the abuse on the court. The refs aren't going to do anything about it, so she had to take matters into her own hands. But now, she's been injured not once, not twice, but 3 times, enough to keep her out of the lineup. What if putting on all that muscle threw off her mechanics, especially in her legs, which are essential for any player, but especially her, given the type of long-range shot she takes? I'm not the first to call this out. And now, Caitlin could be out for a while. She missed the All-Star game, which was supposed to be the Caitlin Clark show, and honestly, it was pretty rough without her. But the injury situation has gotten so bad that fans are telling her to sit out as long as needed. 1, so she can get healthy, then play at her best. But 2, to show the league how painful it is when she's out. And this is where the league is blowing it big time. Fans are calling for her to sit out the season. They want her to play in Europe or start her own league. They're tired of the WNBA. And if Caitlin continues to miss games, networks and advertisers are going to start asking Cathy Engelbert some serious questions.
There's a CBA in question right now. And there's also a media rights deal right now. Do you think those television networks aren't concerned?
And you have to think that Adam Silver is going to start pulling some strings as well. The NBA has invested hundreds of millions of dollars into the WNBA. It's never turned a profit. Caitlin Clark is their one chance to get out of the red. There is no way he and the NBA owners aren't furious about Caitlin Clark being injured repeatedly, especially with all the expansion happening by 2030. This could be an epic financial faceplant. The networks and sponsors aren't going to be happy and willing to spend the big bucks if Caitlin's not playing. When you add it all up, if there's no Caitlin, the league slips back into the dark ages of half-empty arenas. Angel Reese isn't the solution. Neither is Napheesa Collier. These are 2 of the league's biggest names, and they couldn't fill the 10,000 seats at Wintrust Arena. The owners know this, which is why the players have lost their CBA leverage. There's no way the owners will give them what they want now that Caitlin's been injured and they've seen 55% ratings drops while she's out. And we know this because the players have asked Caitlin to join the CBA talks, and you know that's the last thing they wanted to do. Just as they keep going to the NBA to bail them out, they've now asked Caitlin to do the same. But what is she realistically going to do? Promise to not get hurt? She can't. If the players and league were smart, they would negotiate to get NBA-level refs and a commitment from them to call more of an NBA-style game. This would help preserve player safety and allow skill to take center stage. Unless the officiating changes, the league could lose everything. This isn't a partisan issue. The players have complained, the coaches have complained, the fans are furious, and Caitlin, the hope of the league, has been injured 3 times this season, and there are just too many snapshots of her getting pummeled on the court with no real consequences for people to ignore. The only person who seemingly needs convincing is the commissioner. With everything at stake, we'll see if higher powers are needed to force a change.